Now I'm going to show you a few specific cases that I use Roam for. I don't expect you'll use these the same way, but you're welcome to steal anything you see here. Probably steal and tweak would be your best bet. But we'll dig first into book notes that I've already shown you a bit about. So book notes, I have this template here I use every time. I have the author that I reference the author of the book, again, so I can go to that author page and see the different books and different times he was referenced. The tags we talked about before, it always starts with book and to read. And I should be adding more things in here as I go along. I don't do great there. Audible length I put in just because it's a good way to determine the length of a book. So when I'm viewing all my books at once, I can see the length that Audible says it will take to listen to and gives me a basic idea of which books are longer than others. So if I want a more in-depth read, I can look for longer ones, shorter. Date finished, I just tag in when I'm done. You can just do /today. Often how you do that, put in today's date if you finished it today, just so it shows up there and you can see that. Why is a big one. This was a problem I struggled with for years. I'd have books on my Kindle and I didn't know why I ever got them in the first place. So I may put in here something like Bob Smith recommended it today at lunch. So that way when I go back to, oh yeah, that was the book Bob talked about because he loved it so much. And I can maybe put some more details there. And then notes are for when I'm done. I'll use some notes. So an example, I pulled in Dave Ramsey's EntreLeadership. So here's kind of how it looks. I copied this over from my personal one. So this is one I actually just blinked. I read it years ago. I wanted to kind of refresh myself. And I took out some of the other stuff. I took out the Audible length and the why and some of that just because I didn't have an answer for it here, so I got rid of it. So what I did is I just put my notes in. And the way you handle notes is completely up to you. There's whole, again, courses all about note-taking the right way. I do it two ways, especially if it's from Blinkist. I have all my notes from Blinkist that I take, and I kind of go through, highlight some things, copy them over, maybe reword them a bit. If I see something interesting, like he pulled in this quote from Seth Godin, so I copied the quote, referenced Seth Godin, called it quote. And so again, I had a page full of quotes. Here's all the quotes on here, which is actually more than I would have thought in this sample database, but I have tons on mine. And again, you can use the filter to kind of filter out quotes to say, okay, just the ones from Jeff Bezos, and there's some of his quotes. And that can be interesting too, where you can see how things came in from different places and some neat stuff. But going back, so I have that, and again, I put quote with work-life balance, and I always put the word quote, and again to Seth. So again, I go to Seth and see, my personal database is a lot more there with books I've read and quotes I've gotten and that kind of stuff. But I just kind of do that. So I pull in the case of Blinkist, I pull in my Blinkist notes and add some more stuff to it, and then I go to Goodreads and grab the most popular quotes from there, or most popular, I guess they're highlights from Goodreads, and paste them in here as well, because it could be that they found something that Blinkist didn't grab for me. You'll notice one thing here where there's a gap and no bullet. So I did that on purpose because this was 2 paragraphs, but it's one thought. So if I were to just hit enter, that would make it a second block, which isn't a killer, but it's really one thought. And if I want to ever embed it somewhere, I want to do that. So you can do shift enter to do that, and actually do it twice to give me a break there. So it's still one block to deal with. If I ever want to reference it somewhere or embed it, it's a single block to pull in. If you do things with the Bible, you may notice a lot of this in Psalms, where they'll have one verse that actually has like 4 lines to it with line breaks in it. I'll kind of pile those into one bullet with manual line breaks like that, just to keep it as a single block. It doesn't really matter, but can help. Again, I try to keep my database as clean as I can to benefit me in years ahead. But another quote pulled in from Goodreads, and again, I put quote, planning the person, quote from Henry Ford. They mention Habakkuk 2:2, which in my database that actually references over here. It's broken because I copied it in, but again, like I did before, I could have done James again. You could pull. I actually pulled in Habakkuk 2:2. So again, on that page, I can see the reference back to it, and like, oh, that verse was referenced in Dave Ramsey's book too, and kind of get the stuff going there. Just however you want to handle it is up to you. This is just to try to give you some ideas of how to do it. In theory, then I should go through. If you followed Diego Forte's course about progressive summarization, I really should be digging in deeper to distill the clear message out of this. I've not done that yet. A lot of these, I'll put in a need summarization tag in my personal database. So when I have some time, I can go in and say, okay, let's start cleaning this up a bit more. You can help to open it in the sidebar and can do some things there. But that's a bit about how I handle books. And I showed you before with filters, you can go to the book tag and have that and start filtering down to see what you want to read next and how things shake out. And again, in my personal one, I have Audible length filled in a lot of them. So 5 hours and 40 minutes or however long Audible is. So I can see that at a glance. Okay, that one sounds too long. That one sounds better. Whatever I want there. But hopefully that gives you some good idea on how to handle books in Roam.